Thanks very much, Deputy Speaker. I rise to talk on this Treasury Laws Amendment Bill, cost of living tax cuts, Labor call it. And what a shame, how disappointed it is that I have to rise to speak on this, given that the Labor Party promised at the last election that they would keep stage 3 tax cuts. And the previous Speaker, and all three of them sitting on that side over there, right in front of me, Member for Robertson and Higgins, they were elected based on a lie, an absolute lie. The Prime Minister stated clearly that stage 3 tax cuts would be there. They would be there, 100%. Keep talking, Member for Robertson. We'll be in your electorate, champ, and yours, Higgins. I was down there the other week. The reality is, Mr Deputy Speaker, is that this Prime Minister can't lie straight in bed. He basically said, him and the Treasurer Jim Chalmers said in a media release on the 26th of July 2021, an Albanese Labor government will deliver the same legislated tax relief to more than 9 million Australians as the Morrison government. That's what they say. The Treasurer, Mr Chalmers, put that out with the Prime Minister. An Albanese Labor government will deliver the same legislated tax relief to more than 9 million Australians as the Morrison government. And the member for Robertson and the member for Higgins and others were elected based on that commitment on the 26th of July 2021. And then they come in here and try to justify this lie to their electorates. I mean, give me a break. Give me a break. They also, 7 News also reported on the election day of 21st of May 2022, stage 3 tax cuts are legislated under the previous government and they're locked in, according to the Leader of the Opposition, Anthony Albanese. That's what 7 News reported. Post-election, Anthony Albanese, on June 2022, the Prime Minister, a quote from him, "They've been legislated. And one of the things that people have a right to believe is that when a politician makes a commitment before an election, they keep it. And I intend to do just that." That's what the Prime Minister said. That's what the Australian people need to know. The people of Petrie, the people sitting up there in the gallery, this is your Prime Minister. This is what he said before the election. This is what he said plenty of times after the election. And now he comes in here and breaks that promise. Mark my words, this bill is a 7% increase for some people on their tax, $70 on every $1,000, 15% for some people, increase based on legislation, and they're given a measly 3% for people under 45 grand. Anyway, we'll come back to that. Let's keep going. The 11th of November 2022 on 7 News, this is the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese. "My word is my bond." And we said during the election campaign that we would maintain the position that had already been legislated. "I've always been a man of my word," says the Prime Minister, "and I believe that when you go to an election and you make commitments, you should stick to them." And the people of Robertson and the people of Petrie, that's what they heard from the Prime Minister, that he would stick to these election commitments. Again, a journalist says to him after he was elected, not that long ago, journalist, stage 3 is absolutely locked in. Prime Minister Albanese, yes. Journalists, there are no circumstances under which you would seek to roll back stage 3. Prime Minister Albanese, no circumstances. Not maybe some circumstances or, the Prime Minister should not have to break an election commitment to deal with a cost of living crisis that he and his government have created. And the fact is what they're delivering here is diddly squat. That's what it is. It's $804 when most people in my electorate have seen their expenses go up by $8,000. We'll come back to that. So my speech today for the people of Petrie is a little bit about integrity, and I've outlined that the Prime Minister has none. Very clear from his quotes and his commitment before the election. 2, stage 3, the reality of who gets what. 3, cost of living under this Labor government is woeful. And what lies will this government tell next? And what will they come after next and what that will mean to you? The reality is that in my electorate of Petrie, 12,272 people will get nothing. They have no income. They might be retired, they might be students, they're over 18, 12,272 people will get nothing. The changes, there's 46,000 people that earn between 18,200 and 45,000. There's 55,000 people that earn between 45,000 and 135,000. They will get an $804 further tax cut from what the coalition had already legislated. And when I say legislated, right now, on this day in Australia, the law of the land is that from 1 July, from 45,000 to 200,000, the income tax rate will be 30%. And most people think that's all right because they think, well, if I'm earning $1, I'm happy to pay 30 cents and keep 70. That was the purpose of getting rid of the 37% tax rate. But these people are bringing that back, another 7% for many people in my electorate, thousands of people. In fact, 2.1 million people in Australia will see tax hikes from this Labor government, from the Albanese Labor government. They're increasing their tax if they earn over 135,000 to 190,000. They're increasing their tax by 7%. The rate on income tax will go from 30%, which is currently legislated in law today, to 37%. 7%, $70 on every $1,000 in the middle of a cost of living crisis, in the middle of a homelessness issue where homelessness, since this government has been elected, has probably doubled. We won't find out until the 2026 census. They're also increasing, as part of those 2.1 million Australians that earn over 135, the 45% rate will now kick in from 190 to 200. They went to the election promising a 30% rate. Instead, on that $10,000, they're going to take $1,500 back off them. That's the reality. When I talk to people in my electorate that earn under $45,000 and I explain to them that their tax rate is 19 cents in the dollar, so their first $18,200 is tax-free, then it's 19 cents in the dollar from from 18,200 to 45,000. Most people say, yeah, that's fair. I'm happy to pay my 19 cents and keep 81 cents. But what this government is doing, to be tricky, to be smart, to try and give everyone a tax cut, a big $804, is we're going to reduce your tax to 16 cents. All right, you're going to reduce it to 16 cents. But that wasn't the tax rate that was the big issue. Most people are happy to pay 19 cents. What the government won't tell you, for those in Petrie and for those in the gallery and others, is that they'd already taken $1,500 off most people that earn under $120,000 after they came to government. In May 2022, when the election was on, the low-income and middle-income tax offset delivered $1,500 to most people under $120,000 in their tax return. So you rock on up to your accountant, you get $1,500 back, and guess what happened last year with this mob? Oh, that's gone now. That's all gone. So people were having to pay, in some cases, additional dollars and actually pay the ATO more money, and in other cases they had a measly little tax return when they were expecting $1,500 more. So the Albanese Labor government want to tell you, oh, we're reducing the 19 cents to 16 cents, you'll get $804, but we've already taken $1,500 off you, right? So you're $700 worse off there. And then, of course, the cost of living has gone through the roof, which everybody knows about. Groceries are up by 9%. Housing costs are up by 12%, and people are homeless under this mob. Electricity bills are up by 20%, when another Albanese Labor government promise was that they would reduce your electricity bills by $275. Instead, they've gone up 20% with all their renewable energy rollout. Insurance costs. For those of you that own a home or you've got to insure your car, you'll all know insurance is up by 22%. How much longer do you want to put up with this bloke? You need to toss out the Albanese Labor government come the next election. Gas, you want to cook a barbecue or heat your shower from your gas? 27% up. 27% up. Not a little bit. A lot more than $804 because that's all you're getting. Every single person in Australia needs to know any tax cut that they receive on July 1 this year was because of the former coalition government. Do you think this mob would give you any tax cuts if it wasn't for the coalition government and what we had legislated? All they're doing is con, spin and trickery. And you can't believe a word that the Treasurer says or what the Prime Minister says or the Minister for Finance. I forgot about the Minister for Finance in the Senate, Senator Katie Gallagher. On the 6th of January, it was less than a month ago, the journalist says, "Minister, can you guarantee that all workers, even those on the highest income, will get their full Stage 3 tax cut from July 1? Minister Gallagher, leader in the Senate, along with Minister Wong, "Well, our position on the tax cuts haven't changed." They were doing this work back in November. Now, this woman is in Cabinet. She's either lying or she doesn't know what's going on. They're legislated, says Minister Gallagher. They're due to come into effect on the 1st of July this year. The Parliament passed them in the last term, 6th of January 2024. Stephen Jones, the Assistant Treasurer, I should say, opposite, on the 29th of November. We are always looking at ways to find savings in the budget, and we're looking at that, but there's been no consideration on Stage 3 tax cuts. You could go through every single one of them and you can't believe a word they're saying. You cannot believe them. And the backbenchers opposite, in their first turn, all excited to be here. Well, guess what? You got elected on the back of a lie. And don't bother telling your electorates everyone's better off, because if you were honest, you'd say, we're giving you $804. Your cost of living's gone up by $8,000. We removed Lamito. And any other tax cut you got, you can thank Scott Morrison, or the member for Cook, I should say, Deputy Speaker, because that's the reality. These tax cuts were delivered by the coalition. It was meant to kill bracket creep. All the public servants here that are on $200,000 a year, guess what? All their housing costs have gone up too. We're not going to forget them. You were meant to get a tax cut, and this mob's taken it back off you. They're increasing your tax by 7% if you earn over 135, and 15% if you earn over 190. And you want this guy in. Get rid of him. Honestly, they're no good, and they want to keep people down. That's the reality of this government. They want to keep people down. They've never done. They do not want to have people aspire to do more with their lives. That is the absolute reality. Bracket creep was very important to get rid of. The former coalition government was completely removing the 37% rate. And I hear members opposite get up. Member yesterday got up over here, I think it was the member for Bennelong. He said, oh, people earning $200,000 and people earning $45,000, you know, they're all paying the same rates of tax. That's not fair. We're bringing back the 37% rate. That guy got elected on a lie as well. What he didn't tell you is that someone earning $199,000 on the current legislated law of the land today that kicks on July 1, someone earning $199,000 pays $30,000 more tax than someone earning $99,000. Forgot that convenient point. Deputy Speaker, it is sad that we have to be here to debate this, because this is a blatant lie from the Albanese Labor government. And in my 10 years in Parliament, you know, I've told the truth. I've been straight with people. When people look me in the eye, when I'm out and about in the Petrie electorate around Redcliffe or North Lakes or Griffin or Deception Bay or down in Brisbane City Council, I tell them the truth. They ask me, they get a straight answer. This mob looked down the barrel and just completely lied, and every single one of these backbenchers that get up and does a speech, you can keep telling yourself that, but the reality is that you've been elected under a lie. We won't forget it. We will continue to make sure that we hold this mob to account. I understand the member opposite asked me how we're going to vote. We'll vote for these changes for this reason. I'll explain to you why. I told you that, but hang on. Because the $804 that will be given will benefit a lot of people, obviously, because the $8,000 that they've been hit with since you got into government, they're really struggling every day. And I put up posts on my social media. They're hurting right now. Your government needs to do better, a lot better. Are we happy about these changes? Of course we're not. Of course we're not. But it's not the coalition that is bringing this bill forward. We've done what we thought was right. It's the Albanese Labor government that has broken their commitment, and every single one of them will have this on their record forever, and there's no escaping that.